Ooh, nervous.
Good morning. This is cause number 2019-58755 in the interest of Gina, Miriam, and Eugene Pettis Jr. All parties and witnesses in this matter, please raise your right hands to be sworn. And Mr. Rodriguez, you have to unmute yourself. All right. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Yes.
All right. Ma'am, please state your name and your relationship to the children.
Vanessa Rodriguez, and I'm their mother.
All right, sir, please state your name and your relationship to the children.
Dean Adrian Perez, Sr., their father.
And represent the state.
Marcella Turner.
All right, we've got a suit for modification of support order and a motion to confirm support hearing. Do we have any, and we're having a hearing, do we have any stipulations?
No, we do not, Your Honor.
All right, let's proceed.
Thank you. At this time, the state would ask that the court take judicial notice of the prior court order signed on December 13th of 2019, where Mr. Perez was ordered to pay $1,324 in child support and $300 in cash medical support, both of those to begin on January 1st of 2020.
Okay.
The state would also like to offer into what has been marked as State's Exhibit 1, which is the financial activity report.
State's Exhibit 1 is a financial activity report. Ms. Rodriguez, have you had an opportunity to look at that?
Yes, sir, I have.
Do you have any objections of this being admitted into evidence?
No, sir.
Mr. Pettis, same for you?
Yes, sir. That's fine.
Okay, State's Exhibit 1 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, the state would like to call Mr. Perez. Mr. Perez, are you currently employed? Mr. Perez?
Yes, ma'am. I am. I thought you were talking to the judge. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you. Mr. Perez, are you currently employed?
Yes, ma'am. I am with Brand Safeway.
Okay, and are you hourly or salaried?
Hourly.
And how much do you make an hour?
$20 an hour.
And how long have you been at this job, this current assignment?
This current assignment, just under 2 months.
Okay, and did you have an opportunity to provide me with your most recent paycheck stubs?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And you also had an opportunity, you also were able to provide those paycheck stubs by forwarding them to Rodriguez, who then forwarded to me. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so would it be safe to say that she's had an opportunity to also view those paycheck stubs?
Yes.
And based off of your paycheck stubs, did we discuss the new guideline child support amount if this court approves this modification today?
Yes, ma'am.
And it was stated to you that based off of your current check stubs and your financial income, that the new child support amount would be $820. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And it was also stated to you that based off of that information that the medical support amount would be $195. So it would be modified downwards, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Perez, was it you that requested this modification today?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
And at the time of your prior order back in 2019, since that time, had you lost leading up until today's day or leading up until the time you requested a modification?
It kind of cut off what you were saying. I didn't. Can you repeat it?
Since your last order, did you lose the job that you were working at the time of your last order?
Yes, ma'am, I did. I was making
And when you
almost
lost,
double.
I'm sorry, go ahead, finish.
I was making almost double from what I'm making now, so it's a significant loss of salary.
Okay, and was there ever a time period that you were receiving unemployment?
Yes, I did get unemployment for a little bit while I was off, and then I would get go into scaffolding.
And so, did your work, the type of work that you did back in 2019, are you doing that same type of work or has there been a change in the type of work that you do?
I'm doing a different type of work right now.
And so, even though you are no longer unemployed and you've picked up a new job, you're still requesting a modification due to the fact that there have been some changes, some material, substantial changes. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you in agreement with the guideline child support amount that I previously provided to you, the $820 and the $195 for the medical support? Were you in agreement with
Yes,
those numbers?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you've also had an opportunity to view the financial activity report, or we've talked about the arrears on the case. Is that also correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And have there been any direct payments that you have made to Ms. Rodriguez since your prior order?
Yes, ma'am. I had paid her directly because she told me it was taking too long for her to get the child support, and that she couldn't wait that long for me to make it directly to her, and that she would go through y'all and show y'all where I was making payments to her to offset the child support, so I wouldn't be so far behind. And so far, she hasn't done that. So
Okay, and so do you have an idea or did you keep records of how much you paid her directly or when you sent her this money directly?
yes, ma'am.
And could you tell the court when you began paying mom directly or the total
I think
amount if you have the amount?
I I've pretty much been paying her directly from the get go because every now and then I would send it through y'all, but for the most part, it's been going straight to her because I felt, well, at least I'm doing my part to give her the money, and what she does with it or whether she wants to say I gave it to her or not is on her. But I know I did my part as far as my kids are concerned. So I mean, but I do have a lot of the stubs. Like I just gave her 500. What was it? 2 days ago,
Mm-hmm.
and on Sunday I gave it to her, and April 1st I gave her 900, and I've got more receipts. I just gotta go through all of them, but those are the recent two ones that I have saved right up on top. I gotta go through the rest of my receipts to see how much it was I gave her, but for the most part it was either 600, 800 for her rent that she's paying right now.
Okay, and are you asking that this court credit you for the amounts that you have paid mom directly? And for that credit to apply towards the arrearage amount, the child support arrearage amount?
That would be nice, yes.
Okay. And do you have those receipts with you today? Are you able to calculate the total amount, or are they in another location where you're not able to do that today?
I would have to go through all of them because they're like I have
I have
snapshots of them.
I have an accurate amount. And if he wants to agree to it or not, that's what I've gone through and added all of them.
Your Honor, we're in the middle of Mr. Perez's testimony. The state would ask that the court instruct Ms. Rodriguez to hold her comments for her testimony.
Ms. Rodriguez, this isn't your time to say anything yet. Okay.
All right, so Mr. Perez, I have no further questions for Mr. Perez at this moment.
All right.
Subject to call.
Ms. Rodriguez, do you have any questions for Mr. Pettis?
Not directly for him. I just have my own
Okay.
comments in regards to what's going on.
I'll let you do that later.
Okay.
Okay. Go. And you have another witness, Ms. Turner.
Yes, the state would like to call Ms. Rodriguez. Ms. Rodriguez, you received a copy of the most recent paycheck stubs today. Is that correct, Mr. Perez?
I only received it because he wanted me to forward it. Did I review it? No, I did
Objection,
not.
non-responsive.
Okay. Listen to the question, Ms. Rodriguez. Okay.
I was answering her.
No, you weren't. That was a
I said
yes
I
or no.
received
Did you
it.
receive it?
Yes.
That's all we wanted to know. That's all. Okay.
Yes, I
That's the
received
answer.
it.
There we go. Okay.
And so after you received those paycheck stubs, you then forwarded those paycheck stubs to me via email. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so it would be safe to say that you had an opportunity, or even at this very moment, you have an opportunity to view those most recent paycheck stubs. Is that safe to say?
I could.
Now, based off of the current paycheck stubs, I provided the current guideline or the modified child support guideline amount to you in the amount of $800 with a $195 cash medical support amount. Is that correct? Did I go over that with you?
Yes.
And were you in agreement with the current child support and current medical support being modified today?
No.
And why is that?
Because after several conversations with Eugene, the reason why he even took this job is because he's been trying to get it reduced. The same reason why he took a job at Buddy's for $9 an hour so that he could do this. I have given Eugene plenty of opportunity to get a better job. I have even gone and talked to one of my friends at one of the companies that he has worked for, and he denied the job. So Eugene's whole purpose of this has been to reduce the child support so that he does not have to be financially responsible, because he feels like he should not, and this isn't his quotes, should not have to pay 50% of his salary to his children.
Okay. And do you have any proof of any other income that you may think that Mr. Perez is receiving, or do you know of any other jobs that he has?
No, he does not have no job. Has he turned down jobs? Yes, but he does not have no other jobs because his sole purpose has been to reduce this. And that is very part of my frustration and why I'm very angry, because this has been ongoing. He's been trying to do this. The first time you guys denied him the modification when he submitted it for Buddies. So
Okay.
that's why I'm frustrated, and I apologize for lashing out at you guys, but it's just kind of like, I mean, to this point, I feel like ridiculous.
All right. And to your knowledge, does Mr. Perez have any other children, biological children, other than your children?
No, he does not.
And how are the children currently covered for medical and dental insurance?
Well, like I stated, they are on the Medicaid, and that was going on because of the COVID. I have been trying to get them full Medicaid, like to keep going past the COVID. But at this point, I have not been able to. I know that you guys don't have anything to do with the requirements or whatever set forth with the Texas Department of Human Services, but that has been part of my struggle. I am trying to get them the chip, which is what I'm currently waiting for the application for. And that's how they have been covered.
Okay, so just to be clear, they do have Medicaid as of today's date. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
All right, and you've had an opportunity to view arrears on the this case as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
And has Mr. Perez provided direct support to you?
Yes, he has. And it was the way he said that was just my idea. No, it was an agreement of both of us.
Okay, and so
But he
have the
has.
total, do you have the total amount of direct support available with you today that Mr. Perez has provided?
Yes, I do.
And how much has he provided directly to you?
It's been $3,226. I mean, $13,226.
$13,326.
Yes, ma'am.
And are you willing to give Mr. Perez credit for that $13,326 towards his child support arrears?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
And outside of the child support arrears, are you in agreement with this court confirming the medical support arrears in the amount of $5,142.26, which is reflected on your financial activity report?
Yes, ma'am.
That's just essentially the court taking a judgment confirming that amount as of that date for the medical
Yes.
support. And so if this court were to give Mr. Perez credit for the $13,326 towards the child support arrears, would you be in agreement with this court stating that then the judgment on the remaining child support arrears would essentially be wiped out to zero?
Yeah, the only thing is the date, and I don't know if this counts because I went back to December, so I don't know if I need to take that time off. Because that amount for December I included in that. So I wasn't sure what days you guys were starting as far as that amount that I gave
Your
you.
order started in December, so either way, when we credit it, he would still zero out on the child support arrears.
Okay,
But you're in
and that's
agreement with
fine.
that?
That's fine.
Okay. No further questions for this witness. I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Pettis, do you have any questions for Mr. Rodriguez?
No, sir.
All right. Ms. Turner, anything further?
Yes, one more question for Mr. Perez, if I could recall him.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Perez, are you in agreement with the child support arrears being zeroed out as of yesterday's date?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you in agreement with this court taking a judgment for past due medical support as of yesterday's date in the amount of $5,142.26?
Yes, ma'am.
And if this court were to approve the modification based off of the guideline amount that was provided before, how much do you feel you would be able to pay towards the remaining medical support arrears?
Yes, ma'am.
How much do you think you can pay on the medical support arrears?
I can't do it today. No, I'm sorry. I can't.
Well,
do it
not today, but in general, to set up your kind of payment plan, how much in addition to your child support and medical support can you pay?
You said it's 5,000 balance?
Yes, $5,142.26. So you'll pay a monthly amount until it's paid off. So I just need to know how much you can pay each month, beginning August 1st.
Okay. Can I do like 100 extra each month, or?
Well, that would be subject to the court approving that, but are you proposing $100 on that?
I'm sorry.
Are you proposing $100 that you pay an additional $100 for arrears?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, no further questions for either witness.
Ms. Rodriguez, do you have any further questions of Mr. Pettis?
No.
All right. Ms. Turner, do you have any further witnesses?
No further witnesses, Your Honor.
Mr. Pettis, do you have any witnesses you wish to present?
No, sir.
Anything you want to say?
Just that turn down any jobs. I've been working as much as I could. But I mean, just with COVID, I'm a pipe fitter, and I haven't turned down any jobs. It's just really slow right now. Because I mean, I wouldn't pass up a job making $14 more an hour to work at 20. I mean, she can be mad at me and say, hey, I'm doing this or that, but I'm not. I have my kids' best interest at heart, and I try to, even 2 weeks ago when I only made a $379 check, I still anteed up 650. So I don't understand where she's saying that I'm turning down jobs, because I'm not.
All right, Mr. Rodriguez, any witnesses? You have any witnesses you wish to present?
I don't have anybody like physically as witness, but I do have the text messages that prove that he's turned down jobs.
All right, do you have anything further you want to say?
No, just that he's saying all of this, that sounds very nice and everything, that he wouldn't do this or that, but it's the conversations that I've clearly had with him over the phone, over text messages, that speak volumes for what he's saying now. And I don't know if you guys would know, but I wouldn't be so frustrated or irritated about this if I didn't know that he was purposely doing this. And I didn't have to go and say, oh yeah, he's been paying all of this. No, I admit that he has been trying to pay, but I know that it's been after a lot of arguing, a lot of like pulling teeth, getting him to pay what he needs to pay. And my children have seen it too. So it's, that at the end of the day, that's the sad part, that it becomes back down to them. So either way, I've been making it work on my own, but a lot of it has to do with the way that I have to go about trying to pull the teeth, getting him to do the child support. There's been times, because you guys don't directly pull it out of his check, that he's even said, oh, I'll just let them try to find me. I'll switch jobs again. And again, I have all of this by proof on text messages. So it's not just me making up stuff. No, I have all of this that I have screenshotted and saved, where he says, well, you'll just have to wait till they find me, which is why initially he started making the payments to me directly. And I don't know if you guys record the phone calls where I have called the child support office and told them where he works so that you guys could pull it directly from his paycheck. But a lot of it has been a lot of him dodging and weaving.
Ms. Turner, anything further in closing?
No, Your Honor, the state would just ask that the court make a ruling and determine whether or not this child support and medical support will be modified and to what amount based off of the evidence and testimony presented here today.
All right, the motion to modify child support is granted. Father's order to pay child support amount of $820 a month and cash medical support amount of $300 a month beginning August 1st, 2021. Arrears judgments awarded in amounts of $0 for child support and $5,142.26 for cash medical support to be paid at the rate of $100 a month beginning August 1st, 2021. Anything further?
One thing, Your Honor, just to clarify, did I hear you state that the medical support amount will be $300? It will remain $300?
I'm sorry, $195. I got that mistake there. Thank you for correcting that.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Anything further?
No, nothing further. May we be excused?
Yes, ma'am. This should be paid through the child support disbursement unit. That's what the order is, and that's what it should be. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, you two can log back into the other Zoom, Mr. Perez and Ms. Rodriguez.
I don't need to speak any further.
Okay, well, you guys can disconnect.
Do you need me to go to the other one?
Yeah, you can. You can.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Who is on the Diego, in the interest of Diego Martinez?
I am, Your Honor.
Okay, and let's see. This is a petition to establish parent-child relationship. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, and both parties are Spanish speaking, Your Honor.
All right. This is cause number 2020-20539 in the interest of Diego Martinez. All parties, please unmute yourselves, and all parties and witnesses, raise your right hand. Unmute yourself, Mr.
Por favor, prenda su micrófono. Prenda su micrófono, señor Fernando. Señora Ede, prenda su micrófono. Ok, este es el caso 2020-20539 en el interés de Diego Martínez. Por favor, levante la mano derecha.
Also, Miss, do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
¿Juran decir la verdad, toda la verdad delante de Dios?
Sí.
Yes.
Miss
Señora?
Martinez?
Sí.
All right, yes. All right, ma'am, please state your name and your relationship to the child.
Señora, por favor, diga su nombre y su relación de usted al niño.
Aide Martínez y soy su mamá.
Aide Martínez, and I am the mother.
Or your name and your relationship to the children.
Señor, ¿cuál es su nombre y la relación de usted al niño?
Mi nombre es Fernando Nieto y soy el papá del niño.
My name is Fernando Nieto, and I am the father of the child.
And representing the state.
Angela Jeffries with the Office of Attorney General.
Y representando al Estado, Angela Jeffries, abogada.
All right, and we have a petition to establish a parent-child relationship, and we're having a hearing. Is that correct, Ms. Jeffries?
Tenemos
Sean.
una petición para establecer la relación entre padre e hijo. ¿Es correcto, abogada Jeffries? Sí, señoría.
Okay, and do we have any stipulations?
Yes, Your Honor, we do have stipulations, but I would also like to point out that there was a default temporary order entered back in December, and this is for a final order.
Sí,
All
tenemos acuerdos, pero tenemos que, hubo una orden temporal que se hizo en diciembre de 2020 y queremos proceder a finalizar esta orden.
All right,
The parties have stipulated, Your Honor, that the child support shall be $514 beginning August 1st of 2021.
Los dos están de acuerdo que la manutención va a ser 514 por mes, empezando el 1 de agosto de 2021.
The parties,
Sí.
the parties have also stipulated that the medical support will be, the cash medical support will be $100 beginning August 1st of 2021.
También estipularon que están de acuerdo que lo médico por mes va a ser $100, empezando el 1 de agosto de 2021 y cada mes en adelante.
The parties have also stipulated, Your Honor, that the retroactive judgment amount is $1,986, and that will be paid back at amount of $70 per month beginning August 1st of 2021.
Y también están de acuerdo que lo atrasado va a ser $1,986 de la fecha de lo atrasado y se va a pagar a $70 al mes, empezando el 1 de agosto de 2021 y cada mes en adelante.
And finally, Your Honor, the parties have stipulated that Mr. Fernando Nieto will pay the court costs as billed.
Y también están de acuerdo que el señor Nieto va a ser responsable para los gastos de corte a como le manden el bill.
all right, and what are the issues then?
The issues before the court, Your Honor, is the surname of the child, conservatorship, the geographical restriction, possession and access, Your Honor, and finally a non-disclosure.
Lo que no estamos de acuerdo es el apellido del niño, los derechos de conservadores, si va a haber una restricción en la dirección de la mamá y el niño, las visitaciones y sobre si la dirección puede ser disponible en la orden o no.
Okay, so far, Mr. Juarez, are these your agreements?
Señor Juárez, este es su acuerdo que se acaban de leer en el...
Sí, señor.
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Martinez, so far, are these your agreements?
Señora Martínez, estos son sus acuerdos hasta de ahorita que se leyeron.
Sí, sí,
Yes.
lo que no estoy de acuerdo.
Okay, and so we've got the issues of surname. Conservatorship, geographic restrictions. Possession and access,
Yes, Sean.
and non-disclosure. All right, let's proceed.
Your Honor. The state calls 80 Alexandria Martinez Salas. Ms. Salas, can you please unmute yourself?
El Estado llama a la señora Aide Martínez. Por favor, prenda su micrófono y déjalo prendido.
Ms. Salas, you are the mother of Diego Martinez. Is that correct, ma'am?
Señora Solás, usted es la mamá de Diego Martínez, ¿es correcto?
Sí,
Right. And Diego's last name is Martinez. Do you believe that his last name should stay as Martinez, ma'am?
El apellido del niño Diego es Martínez. ¿Usted piensa que el apellido se debe que mantener Martínez?
sí.
Yes.
All right. And would you have an issue with the court ordering his name, the same last name as his father's?
¿Y usted tendría un problema si la corte cambiara el nombre del apellido del niño al papá?
Sí.
Yes.
Why would you have an issue with the child's last name being the same as his father's last name?
¿Y por qué usted tendría una queja o que por qué supone que el niño tenga el apellido del papá?
Porque en el momento del embarazo yo sufrí violencia doméstica por parte del señor Fernando porque me abandonó 2 meses.
During the pregnancy, I suffered family violence because he abandoned us. ¿Sí?
Okay. And so because he abandoned you, you feel like it's in the best interest that the child's last name remain as Martinez?
Y porque el Señor los abandonó, ¿usted piensa que es el mejor interés para el niño que el apellido se mantenga Martínez?
Sí, yo estuve en el hospital sola por el abandono y pues realmente es el mejor interés para el niño ahorita que se maneje así.
Yes, I was in the hospital by myself due to the abandonment, and I believe it's in the best interest of the child to maintain it the same.
Okay. And when you say abandoned, do you mean he just left the family and he never came back to live with you guys? Or what do you mean when you say abandoned you?
Cuando usted dice que los abandonó, ¿él se fue de la casa y ya no regresó? ¿O qué dice usted es el abandono?
Sí, él se fue de la casa, agarró sus cosas, se fue a otro lado y pues ya no regresó. Continuamente yo estuve dando, me contestaba.
Yes, he left the house, he got his things and left, and he never returned.
Okay. So as far as the day-to-day decision making regarding Diego, who makes those decisions, ma'am?
Sobre las decisiones de día a día para el niño, ¿quién hace las decisiones para el niño?
Yo las hago. La cuestión de las citas con el doctor, llevar con el doctor.
I make the decision regarding like going to making doctor visits. I do it.
Okay. And Diego lives in your household with you. Is that correct?
Y el niño Diego vive en la casa de ustedes, ¿correcto?
Vive conmigo.
Yes, he lives with me.
Okay. Do you believe you could co-parent with Mr. Juarez if the court should order?
¿Usted piensa que pueden hacer decisiones sobre los niños de padres, usted y el papá, si la corte ordena eso?
No creo, no es muy difícil ponerme de acuerdo con él.
No, it's very difficult to get an agreement with him.
Okay. And you also mentioned that there was some family violence. When was the last incident of family violence between you and Mr. Juarez?
Usted indicó que había violencia doméstica entre los dos. ¿Cuándo fue el último incidente que hubo violencia doméstica?
El último incidente fue en febrero del 2020, que fue cuando yo me tuve que ir a un refugio por 4 meses, porque el policía le dijo a él que pues él no podía estar ahí cerca del domicilio, como él dijo que esa era su casa.
Okay, un momento. The last incident was in February 2020. At that time, the police were called and I had to go to a shelter as the police told them that he couldn't be there, but it was his apartment, so I left. Continúa.
Entonces yo le dije a él enfrente del policía que yo me iba a salir, que me diera 3 días para salirme de ahí del apartamento. Me tuve que ir al refugio por 4 meses.
So I told him in front of the police that I would leave to give me 3 days, and that's when I went to the shelter for 4 months.
Okay. And so as far as raising him, you've really never had to, I guess, contact Mr. Juarez to raise your son. Is that correct?
Sobre cómo usted ha estado criando por el niño, usted nunca ha tenido contacto con el señor Nieto sobre haciendo decisiones.
Sobre decisiones, no, yo sí le llamo para comentarle de la salud del niño, para que él sepa cómo está.
Regarding decision makings, no, I made the decisions, but I have tried to contact him to tell him how the child is doing.
Para que pues él no piense que estamos muy bien, que sepa que realmente estamos batallando, porque yo lo estoy llevando, tiene 8 terapias al mes el niño.
That way he knows how we're doing, that we're not doing good, that the child, regarding the child's health, I have to take them to 8 therapies a month.
Tiene un retraso en su desarrollo, está tomando terapia física, de habla, de ocupacional, para que él se pueda recuperar. Y pues
he has several issues of development. He right now is taking physical therapy and speech therapy.
Okay. Does Mr. Juarez know where you currently live, ma'am?
El señor Juárez sabe dónde usted vive, señora?
No.
All right.
No.
And do you believe him having your address will cause you harm or harassment?
¿Usted piensa si él sabe su dirección le puede causar daño a usted físicamente o molestando a usted?
Sí.
Yes.
All right. And when he had your address in the past, was there any harassment in the past?
Cuando él tenía su dirección en el pasado, ¿hubo incidentes de que él molestaba en su dirección?
Sí, él llegaba constantemente en la madrugada, tomado, tenía drogas, llegaba a tocarme la puerta en la madrugada, si no le abría decir que iba a aventar la puerta.
He would come to the house early in the mornings, in the mid-morning hours, drunk, and sometimes with drugs, and stating that he was knocking on the door.
Okay, so based on the family violence and the history, based on the history of family violence and the fact that he showed up to her unannounced, she asked in the court to not disclose her address and fine for family violence.
Y basado en los incidentes de violencia doméstica en el pasado y los incidentes que ha pasado, usted está pidiendo a la corte que su dirección no sea disponible y que la corte encuentre una parte en la orden que indica que hay violencia doméstica en los últimos 2 años. ¿Es correcto?
Sí, es correcto, porque incluso me quebró el vidrio de uno de mi recámara cuando no abría la puerta.
Correct, because he also broke one of the windows of my bedroom.
Okay. Now, Ms. Martina, you live in Harris County, is that correct, ma'am?
Señora, usted, Martínez, usted vive en el condado de Harris, ¿es correcto?
Sí, es correcto.
Yes,
All
it's
right,
correct.
and to your knowledge, does Mr. Juarez live in Harris County?
Y para el reconocimiento de usted, ¿el señor Juárez vive en el condado de Harris también?
Sí,
Yes.
Do you understand that based on those facts, you typically would be geographically restricted to live in Harris County?
¿Usted entiende que basado en esos datos que vive en el condado de Harris, la corte puede ordenar que su dirección se mantenga en este condado o un condado alrededor?
sí.
Yes.
Okay, and so do you believe the geographical restriction should apply in this case?
¿Usted piensa que la restricción en su dirección debe que estar puesta en este caso?
Sí,
Yes.
Okay. Judge, I just want to clarify. So she is agreeing with the geographical restriction in this case.
Podemos que si usted está de acuerdo que usted tenga una restricción en su dirección, que usted se tiene que mantener en el condado de Harris.
Is that your agreement, Ms. Martinez?
Que si ese es el acuerdo de usted, señora Martínez.
Sí, sí, pues a mí sí me gustaría moverme, pero si no hay...
I would like to move, but if there's no,
Pero
Okay, do you,
está bien.
Repito otra vez, Martínez.
Bueno, yo estoy pensando que ahorita a mi conveniencia, yo creo que sí sería conveniente moverme, pero si tu decisión es que me quede en el condado de, pues me quedo. Yo básicamente estoy batallando un poco por la salud de
right now I would like to move, but if the court orders for me to stay in Harris County, then I will stay in Harris County.
That's not a stipulation. All right, go ahead, Mrs. Jeffries.
all right. And so Ms. Martinez, do you have a job somewhere else right now outside of Harris County?
Señora Martínez, ¿usted tiene un trabajo afuera del condado de Harris?
no, me están ofreciendo un trabajo en San Antonio.
No, I don't have a job, but I have an offer in San Antonio.
What kind of offer do you have in San Antonio?
¿Qué tipo de oferta o de trabajo le están ofreciendo en San Antonio?
Voy a cuidar un niño con una amiga que tengo allá en San Antonio, entonces me está ofreciendo que
I would help take care of a child of one of my friends that lives in San Antonio, and she's offering me a job over there.
y posteriormente, ya que está establecida ahí en un restaurante.
And that she's established over there in a restaurant.
Porque
Okay, so you think that you should be allowed, momento. So you think you should be allowed to move to San Antonio to take that opportunity?
¿Usted piensa que debe quedar usted el derecho de moverse a San Antonio para que tomara oportunidad de esa oferta?
bueno, sí, ahorita
Yes.
por la situación, sí.
Yes, because of my situation, yes.
Okay. And as far as possession and access, when's the last time Mr. Juarez saw your son?
Sobre la posesión y acceso al niño de visitación, ¿cuándo fue la última vez que el señor Juárez vio al niño?
Yo cuando le hablé, no recuerdo si fue hace como 4 meses y fue precisamente por eso, porque tenía la situación con el doctor y yo creo que fue en ese tiempo, 4 o 5 meses que lo vio.
When I called him, I believe it was like around 4 months that I called him because it was during a situation with the doctor. So I believe it was like 4 or 5 months ago.
Okay. And how long was the visit for?
¿Y qué tanto tiempo duró la visitación o vio al niño?
Yo creo como 2 horas. Fueron en varias ocasiones.
I believe it was like 2 hours. It was like several occasions.
Okay. Would she have any issue with Mr. Juarez having his son overnight on the weekends?
¿Usted tendría una preocupación o sobre que si el papá tuviera visitaciones con el niño el fin de semana, que pase la noche con él?
Sí, sí, porque la última ocasión que lo vio, o sea, que tuvo contacto con él, yo me di cuenta que tenía efectos o había consumido droga y alcohol, entonces él maneja así.
Yes, because the last time that he had contact with the child, I could see that he was either drugged and had consumed alcohol, and he would drive like that.
Y casi siempre son los fines de semana cuando hace eso. Cuando no va a trabajar, los fines de semana es cuando lo hace.
And it's usually during the weekends that he does that because he's not working.
Okay, so when she says drugs, she's saying that the non-custodial parent is incarcerated or not incarcerated. He's under the influence of drugs or alcohol.
Cuando usted dice drogas, ¿usted está diciendo que el señor está bajo la influencia de drogas o alcohol?
Ujú.
Yes.
Incluso yo vi
Alright,
que lo
so-
estaba haciendo en su carro, lo estaba haciendo y tiene droga en su carro, entonces no me gustaría que mi hijo se lo llevara.
Inclusive, I saw him doing it in the car, and he has drugs in the car.
And what type of drugs did you see him consuming?
¿Y qué tipo de droga usted vio que él consumó?
No sé, él me dice que marihuana nada más, pero por ese motivo, por estar con alcohol y drogas, tuvo un accidente hace poquito, me dijo que chocó el carro.
I'm not
Y-
sure if it's, he tells me it's marijuana, but I'm not sure. He said he told me he had a wreck due to being under the influence.
Okay. So what type of visitation do you think is appropriate in this?
¿Qué tipo de visitación usted piensa que es apropiado en este caso?
Supervisada está bien. Sí, me gustaría.
Supervised visits, I believe.
I'm sorry, repeat that.
Supervised visits, I believe.
Okay. And in the temp default order, you asked that visitation occur via the domestic relations office. Would you want that type of visitation to continue, ma'am?
Sobre la orden temporal, usted pidió que las visitaciones sean supervisadas por el condado, la oficina Domestic Relations Office. ¿Usted está exigiendo esas visitaciones que sean igual?
Sí, ¿qué otras opciones hay?
Yes. What other options are there?
Would you be open to supervised visits that don't occur at a facility?
¿Usted estaría disponible a ver si se acuerda que sean visitaciones supervisadas, pero que no sean en una agencia?
Que tendría que ser como en algún lugar público.
How would they be? Would they be in a public place?
Possibly if the court should order.
Posiblemente si es lo que ordena la corte.
Pues sí, supervisadas o así como venta de algo que sea en público.
Well, yes,
Sí.
maybe supervised, or if it's in a public place, then I think yes.
And you would supervise the visit, Ms. Martinez?
¿Y usted sería la que supervisaba la visitación, señora Martínez?
Sí.
Yes.
Sí, o no sé si algún familiar que también pudiera estar supervisando.
Yes, or maybe a family member that could also be there, possibly supervising.
Further for this witness, Your Honor, I do pass the witness, subject to recall.
Pasamos el testigo a este momento. Ya no tengo preguntas, pero podemos llamarla para atrás por otras preguntas.
Mr. Juarez, do you have any questions of her?
Señor, ¿usted tiene preguntas a la mamá?
No.
No.
All right. Call your next witness, Ms. Jeffries.
Thank you. The state calls Fernando Nieto Juarez.
Llamamos al señor Fernando Nieto Juárez, el testigo.
Mr. Juarez, you are the father of Diego Martinez. Is that correct, sir?
Señor Juárez, usted es el papá de Diego Martínez, ¿es correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
All right. And his last name is Martinez. What last name do you think your son should have?
El apellido del niño es Martínez. ¿Qué apellido usted quiere que tenga el niño?
Pues el mío, soy su papá.
Well, mine, I am the father.
Now, you heard Ms. Martinez testify that she thinks that the child shouldn't have your last name because you abandoned her. Is there any truth to that testimony that you abandoned her in the hospital?
Usted oyó el testimonio de la señora que usted abandonó a ella y al niño. ¿Eso tiene algo de verdad en eso?
Bueno, empezó todo así porque, como yo le estaba explicando, yo todavía estoy casado. Mi divorcio.
Started because, like I said, I'm still married. My divorce
Va a ser bueno, tengo una corte para el día 23 y ese ha sido el caso de todos los problemas, el divorcio, las discusiones.
Okay. And I have court coming up on the 23rd. And that's
Objection, Your Honor, not responsive.
Sustain. Listen to the question, Mr. Juarez, and just answer the question.
Por favor, oiga la pregunta y conteste nomás la pregunta.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it true, based on Mrs. Martinez's testimony, that you left her in the hospital? Is it true, yes or no?
¿Es cierto que usted abandonó a la señora, que dejó a la señora en el hospital sola?
No, porque ella nunca me dijo cuándo se iba a aliviar.
No, because she never told me when she was going to have the baby.
Okay. And so based on have you ever tried to reach out and be a part of your son's life, sir?
¿Usted ha tratado de contactar a la señora y tratar de ser parte de la vida del niño?
Sí.
Yes.
And since he was born, have you tried to take an active role in his life?
Y desde que nació el niño, ¿usted ha tomado estaba activo en el crecimiento del niño?
Yo siempre he querido estar al pendiente de él.
I've always wanted to be his attention.
Okay. But have you actually taken a role in his life is the question.
La pregunta es si usted ha cuidado al niño o tomado acciones para criar al niño.
Bueno, porque ella no me deja, pero tengo he estado viviendo con ella, yo lo he bañado,
He does
le he dado
not
de
admit
comer.
me, but I've lived with her. I've taken him a bath. I've given him food.
Y lo he cuidado como, pues es mi hijo, lo he cuidado demasiado.
I've been taking care of him. He's my son.
Okay, so based on that, you believe that his last name should be what?
Basado en eso, ¿qué piensa que el apellido del niño debe que ser?
Pues el mío porque el apellido Martínez es de su papá.
Well, mine, because the Martinez last name is the mom's father.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that you and her live together. How would you describe your relationship, good or bad?
Usted indicó que vivían juntos. ¿Cómo puede decir que fue la relación entre ustedes dos? ¿Bueno o malo?
Malo.
Bad.
And does he think that he could co-parent with Ms. Martinez if the court would order it based on the fact that they have a bad relationship?
¿Usted piensa que ustedes pueden compartir los derechos de padres sobre el niño, como acaban de decir que tienen una mala relación?
Sí,
Yes.
porque los dos estuvimos de acuerdo en que viniera al mundo él.
Yes, because we were both in agreement for the child to come into this world.
Okay. Now, is there any truth to her testimony that in February 2020, the police were called because of family violence between you and her?
Tocante lo que ella dijo testificó durante febrero, ¿hay algo de verdad que es cierto que la policía vino en un incidente en febrero?
Sí, porque yo quería, ¿cómo se llama? Quería ver a mi hijo y ella se alteró y empezamos a discutir y fue cuando ella le llamó al policía. Eso
Yes,
fue,
because I wanted to see my child. We got into an argument, and that's when she called the police.
Did you face any criminal charges from that incident, sir?
¿A usted le dieron cargos criminales sobre ese caso, ese incidente?
no, criminales no.
Criminal charges, no.
All right. And do you know where your son, who's your son's primary care physician, sir?
¿Usted sabe quién es el doctor primario de su hijo?
No, porque ella nunca me dice, es por eso que yo quiero llegar a
No,
un
because
acuerdo.
she never tells me, and that's the reason I want to come to an agreement here.
Okay. And so you believe it's in the best interest of the child that you be appointed that you make decisions regarding your son. Is that correct, sir?
Y usted piensa que es en el mejor interés del niño que la corte ordene que los dos estén involucrados en siendo las decisiones del niño?
Sí.
Yes.
And Mr. Nieto, you live in Harris County. Is that correct, sir?
Señor Nieto, usted vive en el condado de Harris, ¿es correcto?
Vivo y trabajo.
I live and I work.
All right. And to your knowledge, Ms. Martinez lives in Harris County as well. Is that correct, sir?
Y para reconocimiento de usted sabe que ella vive en el condado de Harris también?
No, ella me dijo que estaba en San Antonio.
No, she told me that she was living in San Antonio.
Okay. Do you believe the court should allow her to reside in a different county other than Harris County, sir?
¿Usted piensa que la corte le debe ordenar que ella pueda vivir en un condado fuera del condado de Harris?
No creo.
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. And when did she tell you she lived in San Antonio, sir?
¿Cuándo le dijo a usted que ella vivía en San Antonio?
¿Cuándo fue? Antier me dijo que ella estaba en San Antonio y una semana antes me pidió dinero, $300, porque se quería regresar para acá. No sé si sea
She told
verdad.
me two days ago that she was in San Antonio, and a couple days before that, she asked me for $300 because she wanted to come back.
Okay. Now, as far as possession and access, when's the last time you seen your son, sir?
Sobre la posesión y acceso del niño, ¿cuándo fue la última vez que usted vio al niño?
Hace como 2 meses.
It was like around 2 months ago.
And how long was the visit for, sir?
¿Y cuánto tiempo usted vio al niño? ¿Qué tanto duró la visitación?
Pues yo estaba con ella.
Well, I was with her.
Okay, when he says he was with her, what does he mean?
Usted dice que estaba con ella. ¿Qué significa eso?
Yo le estaba ayudando porque se iba a mover de apartamento y estábamos sacando las cosas a un storage.
She was living in an apartment and she was moving, and we were moving stuff into storage.
Okay. Now the default order stated that you were supposed to do visitation via the domestic relations office. Have you done visitation at all at the domestic relations office, sir?
La orden temporal ordena que las visitaciones sean por la agencia del condado de Harris Domestic Relations Office, que se hizo en diciembre la orden. ¿Usted ha hecho unas visitaciones?
yo no sabía de eso. Nunca he tenido visitas.
No, I didn't know about that. I've never had a visit.
Okay, so what type of visitation do you think the court should order in this case, sir?
¿Qué tipo de visitación usted piensa que la corte debe coordinar en este caso?
Las visitas normales.
The standard visitations, the normal visitations.
Okay. Have you ever had your son overnight by yourself on the weekends in the past?
¿Usted ha tenido el niño por el fin de semana que se queda en la noche en el pasado?
Como 2 veces cuando estaba más chiquito todavía, tenía como 1 año.
Like around two times when he was younger, when he was like 1 year old.
Okay. Now, Ms. Martinez testified that your son needs special care. If he was in your care, do you believe that you could take care of him on the weekends if something should happen to him or he needs medical attention?
La señora testificó que el niño requiere cuidados médicos sobre el niño. ¿Usted piensa que si el niño está con usted le puede dar esos cuidados médicos que necesita adicionales?
Claro que sí, es mi hijo y por eso yo abrí el caso también. Quiero saber
Sure,
todo.
he is my son, and that's the reason I opened this case.
Okay. Now, finally, do you know where Ms. Martinez lives at, Mr. Nieto?
Señor Nieto, ¿usted sabe dónde vive la señora Martínez?
No,
No, I don't.
Is there any truth to her testimony that you've shown up to her house unannounced?
¿Es cierto, basado al testimonio que dijo ella, que usted ha llegado a su casa sin avisarle que usted iba a ir?
sí, porque ella me tiene bloqueado el teléfono, no me contesta y pues voy a su apartamento a tocarle para ver si están bien.
Yes, I have. She's blocked me from her phone. She doesn't answer calls. So I've gone to her apartment to see how my son is.
Okay. Do you believe the court should grant the non-disclosure of her address in this case, sir?
¿Usted piensa que la corte debe que ordenar que la dirección de ella no sea disponible?
Bueno, ya depende de ella si quiere que yo sepa.
It's up to her. If she wants me to know her address.
Okay. And then lastly, as far as the marijuana, is there any truth to the testimony that you consumed marijuana in front of Ms. Martinez?
Sobre el testimonio de lo de marihuana, ¿es cierto que usted consumió marihuana enfrente de ella?
Una vez yo y ella llegamos a fumar también.
One time we smoked.
And is there any truth to the fact that you got into an accident because you were under the influence of alcohol?
¿Y es cierto que usted tuvo un accidente porque estaba bajo la influencia de alcohol?
No, iba demasiado cansado y lo que pasó nomás me fui al dish.
It's that I was very tired, and what happened, I just went into a ditch.
Eran como las 12 de la noche.
It was around midnight.
I have nothing further for this witness, Your Honor. I pass the witness.
Ya no tengo preguntas para sus testigos.
Ms. Martinez, do you have any questions for Mr. Juarez?
Señora Martínez, ¿usted tiene preguntas para el señor Juárez?
Sí, que no es cierto que yo había fumado.
Yes,
No.
it's true that
Do you have a question? I'll let you say something later, but right now, do you have a question for Mr. Juárez?
a ese tiempo es si usted tiene preguntas para el señor Juárez. Le vamos a dar tiempo para que usted diga lo que quiere decir, pero este tiempo es para preguntas para él solamente.
Do you have any questions?
¿Usted tiene preguntas para el señor?
Sí.
Yes.
¿Cómo es que dices que puedes atender al niño? Llevarlo 8 veces al mes a sus terapias si todo el tiempo estás trabajando y estás en el gimnasio y siempre estás ocupado. Entonces no entiendo cómo te vas a poder hacer responsable de él.
My
Así.
question is, how do you say that you can take care of your son. How is it that you can take care of him, taking him to the therapies for 8 months? And while you're always working, we're at the gym and always busy.
Contesta, señor Ferran Juárez.
Ok, yo pues lo principal es mi hijo, la prioridad es mi hijo. Yo de eso, del tiempo, para todo hay tiempo. Yo puedo hacer mi tiempo tanto en el trabajo, arreglar mis horas y los fines de semana pues dedicar todo a mi hijo, todo el tiempo.
Un momento, señor. Well, principally, he is my son. I will make time to take care of my son on the weekends. I can adjust my work schedule to make sure that I am able to take care of my son.
Have another question, Ms. Martinez?
Otra pregunta, señora Martínez.
¿Estás dispuesto a que te sometan antes de ver al niño a pruebas de alcohol y droga para ver si antes de verlo no estás bajo los efectos? Porque tú sabes perfectamente que siempre lo haces todos los días. Yo nada más dije que fin de semana, pero es de siempre. Pero porque tú echas...
Wait. Una pregunta nomás. Okay. Go ahead.
Are you in agreement to submit to a drug test before you see the child? Because in the past, to make sure that you're not under the influence. Because in the past, you've done it not just on the weekends, but during the week too.
Objection, Your Honor. I don't believe that that's some relief that has been played for in this case.
No, okay. Well, I mean, but she can ask the question. The answer, no, señor.
Oh, yo estoy dispuesto a que me lo... De hecho, yo estoy dispuesto a que lo hagan y para que ella se dé cuenta de que no son así las cosas.
I'm in agreement to do it because in fact, I even want her to know that that's not how the things are right now.
Another question, Ms. Martinez.
Otra pregunta, señora Martínez.
Tú realmente sí sabes que me abandonaste.
Do you know that you did abandon me?
Pues eso no fue abandono. Eso yo me hice a un lado porque por los pleitos que teníamos sobre el divorcio y yo te dije que pues tú me decías que mejor hasta que no estuviera el divorcio listo para llegar nosotros en un acuerdo y ponernos bien, porque eso es lo más importante para ti, porque la importancia tú le das más al divorcio y el divorcio está en proceso y no le das importancia a lo que está pasando, mijo.
Un moment. It wasn't an abandonment. It was due to the arguments that we had, due to the divorce, because I'm still married. And that was the issue. But you always put an importance on the divorce for me to get divorced.
Ms. Martinez.
Otra pregunta, señora Martínez.
Sí, estás de acuerdo también que me amenazaste una vez que te ibas a matar si no regresaba contigo.
Is it true that you told me that you were going to kill yourself if I didn't return with you?
Sí, creo que sí lo recuerdo, pero es porque pues tantos problemas que he tenido.
I think I did recall saying that, but it was because of the problems that we had together.
Is that it?
¿Es todo, señora Martínez?
Le quiero hacer, no sé, como un comentario o algo a él, que quiero esta situación de las visitas supervisadas porque sé que ahorita se está quedando con su familia y él sabe
Oh, wait.
cómo es su familia de agresiva.
Wait.
Un momento.
Go ahead.
Y
I want
Go
to
ahead,
make
Mr.
a
Barrera.
comment. I want to make a comment to Mr. Fernando regarding the situation regarding the supervised visits, because he's staying right now with his family.
Objection, Your Honor, this is not a question.
Estamos oponiendo eso porque eso no es una pregunta.
Sustain.
básicamente le quiero preguntar que si él sabe que su familia es agresiva también y si sabe que su hermano también tiene problemas con el alcohol.
I want to ask if he knows that if his family is aggressive and that his sister is aggressive and she has problems with alcohol also.
That doesn't have anything to do with this, Martinez. It has only between you and Mr. Juarez, okay?
Eso no tiene que ver en este caso, tiene que ser entre usted y el señor Juárez.
Ok, tú sabes perfectamente que manejas tomado y cuando te has drogado.
You know perfectly that you have driven drunk and you have drove drunk.
Objection, Your Honor, this is not a question, that's a statement.
All right. Are you
Porque no fue
asking a
pregunta.
question, Ms. Martinez? Are you asking a question? I don't see a question in there. I think that's an accusation is all.
Por favor,
Exacto.
¿esa es una pregunta o parece que es una acusación?
Pues sí, le quiero preguntar si él todavía maneja tomado y con efectos del alcohol, porque hasta donde yo lo conozco siempre lo hace. Entonces no sé
I
cómo
want
hacer.
to ask,
Okay.
I want to
Good.
ask if he still drives drunk because he's driven drunk before under the influence.
Mr. Juarez. Answer.
Ahorita no, ahorita estoy yendo a la iglesia. Me estoy rehabilitando y preparando para esta situación, para el cuidado de mi hijo.
Not right now. I'm actually going to church and I'm actually preparing myself to take care of my child. I'm in rehabilitation.
Y tengo testigos de la iglesia.
Pero
And I
todavía
have witnesses
estás
from
preparado.
church.
Es mi pregunta.
Sorry?
That wasn't my question.
He said no, he's not driving while he's drinking anymore. I think was his answer.
Él contestó que él no está manejando y tomando a este tiempo. Esa fue la respuesta.
Yo
Ok,
sé la responsabilidad de tomar y
No.
manejar tomado.
I know the consequences of drinking and driving drunk.
Any other question, Ms. Martinez?
Otra pregunta que usted tiene, señor Martínez.
¿Cuánto tiempo tienes de no manejar tomado? Porque
Okay,
long?
that's the question. Go ahead.
How long do you have since you have not driven drunk?
Ahorita, desde la última vez que estuve con ella, yo ya no tomaba.
Since the last time I was with her, I have not drank.
pero ¿cuánto tiempo? ¿Una semana, 2 semanas?
How long is the time frame? 1 week, 2 weeks?
Ahorita son como, ahorita voy para el mes porque ahorita tengo mucho trabajo. Yo me la paso ocupado.
Wait. You answered already.
I have like a month. It's because I've been busy at work.
Okay.
Busy at work.
You have any other witnesses, Ms. Jeffrey?
¿Hay otros
No, I do
testigos?
not, Your Honor.
How many has Mr. Juarez ever struck you, Ms. Martinez, or has there been family violence of that type?
Señor Martínez, el señor Juárez lo ha golpeado. ¿Ha visto violencia doméstica entre ustedes dos?
Sí.
Yes.
And when was that?
¿Cuándo fue eso?
Pues en la relación, en diferentes discusiones, pues había violencia física, emocional, verbal,
During the
psicológica.
relationship, there was physical violence, verbal violence.
Arguments, in other words.
Eso es mentira.
No,
porque
wait. No.
So fueron argumentos que estaban discutiendo o fue físico.
Fue físico, incluso sí hice un reporte de policía, que es el coraje que él me tiene, y que me dejó moretones en los brazos, que incluso hizo para que le ayudara para quitar los cargos.
It was
Y
physical. I did a police report and he left me bruises on my arm.
Is that true, Mr. Juarez?
Eso es
yo,
cierto.
le puedo decir,
I
empezó
can-
ella porque ella me dio una cachetada, me dio.
me dio una cachetada.
No. I'm asking, is that true? Is that true? Was there a police report?
Es cierto que hubo un reporte de policía.
Because we can get the report, I guess.
Sí.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
And so, Miss Juarez, I'm sorry, Miss Martinez, if Mr. Juarez knows where you live,
Si,
Go ahead.
si el señor Juárez sabe dónde usted vive,
is he likely to cause you any harassment or abuse or serious harm or injury?
él le podría causar daño a usted físicamente o emocionalmente y causarle como molestación a usted.
Ujú, sí.
Yes.
Quiero pedirle 2 minutitos, quiero cargar el celular porque se me está descargando. No sé si pueda, no me
I
carga,
need 2 minutes to charge my phone. It's discharging.
nada más para conectarlo al cargador porque este no me funciona.
I didn't
Oh.
connect it to the charger. Give me one.
Okay, is there, no answer to this question, is there a place in the public, a McDonald's or wherever, Chuck E. Cheese, or someplace where you would be able to, where he would be able to visit with the child?
Hay un lugar público como un McDonald's o un restaurante Chuck E. Cheese que ustedes pueden encontrarse para visitar al niño.
Ms. Martinez, please unmute yourself.
Señora Martínez, por favor, prenda su micrófono.
Es que estoy tratando de cargar el teléfono, pero no me funciona el cargador. Sí, mi pregunta sería si puede ir un familiar a dejar, o sea, a supervisar el niño, porque yo no quiero tener contacto con el señor.
Can a family member go to supervise the child because I don't want to have contact with the other party?
What family member?
¿Qué miembro de la familia sería?
Ana,
My sister.
Do you know her sister, Mr. Juarez?
Señor Juárez, ¿usted conoce a la hermana?
Karina.
Karina?
sí, pues es la única que tengo aquí.
Yes, that's the only sister I have here.
You want to see your child, Mr. Juarez? Would that be agreeable that you see your child with Miss Karina supervising for a period of time?
Señor
Pues,
Juárez, ¿usted quiere ver a su niño? ¿Usted está de acuerdo que la señora Karina supervise las visitaciones por un tiempo?
pues si no hay otra opción, pues yo quiero ver a mi hijo.
If there's no other option, I mean, I want to see my son.
And do you know where her sister lives?
¿Usted sabe dónde vive la hermana?
No.
No.
Ms. Martinez, where does she live?
Señora Martínez, ¿dónde vive su hermana?
Ahorita está viviendo en casa de un primo.
Right now, she's living in a house of a cousin.
How long has she been living there?
¿Y cuánto tiempo ha vivido ella ahí?
Tiene como más de 6 meses viviendo ahí.
She's been there around 6 months.
Anything further, Ms. Jeffries?
No, Your Honor, I have nothing further.
Ya no tenemos más en el caso.
Una pregunta.
One question.
Yes, sir.
Ah,
Sí, señor.
sobre la custodia compartida, ¿qué va a pasar?
Regarding joint custody conservatorship, what's going to happen?
I'm going to make an order
Voy a hacer una orden
in that regard.
sobre eso.
Okay, court orders that the child's surname shall henceforth be Juarez.
El apellido del niño va a ser Juárez.
Mother's appointed sole managing conservator. Father's appointed possessor conservator.
Los derechos gerentes van a ser solamente para la mamá. El papá va a tener posesión.
He will be possessor conservator with modified possession and access supervised by mother's sister at her residence.
Las visitaciones van a ser modificadas, que sean supervisadas por la hermana de la señora Martínez en la residencia de ella.
And each phase shall be for 12 periods.
Y cada fase sería por 12 visitaciones.
Father is ordered not to consume any alcohol or drugs 24 hours before or during the visitation period.
El papá está ordenado no consumir droga o alcohol 24 horas antes y durante las visitaciones.
A non-disclosure is granted.
La restricción en la dirección que no sea disponible en la orden está aceptada por la corte.
Geographical restriction to Harris and surrounding counties.
La restricción de la mamá de la dirección de ella será de que se mantenga en el condado de Harris o un condado alrededor.
All other stipulations are approved.
Todas las otras estipulaciones están aprobadas.
Anything further, Ms. Jeffries?
I just want to confirm after those 12 periods of possession for the modified, then it is a standard possession order, Your Honor.
That's what the modified possession and access calls for. Is that correct? That's in the order. That's in the standard order.
Okay.
One question, Your Honor.
Yes.
I believe the last name Mr. Fernando wanted was not
Nieto.
Juarez.
I'm sorry?
Mr.
The last name?
Mr. Fernando requested the last name be Nieto, not Juarez.
His name, your last, Mr. Fernando, your last name is not Juarez?
I got both last names, Nieto and Juárez.
Tengo dos apellidos, Nieto Juárez.
Your mother's name was Juarez.
El nombre de su mamá, el apellido de su mamá es Juárez, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
All right, child's last name shall henceforth be Nieto.
El apellido del niño va a ser Nieto.
All right, thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Maybe be excused, Your Honor.
Yes.
Vamos a
Una
escuchar.
pregunta